So today, guys, I'm going to be talking about late ovulation. Okay, if you ovulate late naturally, some people ovulate late, okay, either through their gene, through the hormones that they have, and they still take in. But if you're having issues with taking in, okay, you're trying to conceive for a long time, and you've charted your cycles and found out that you're ovulating late, this might be an issue that we need to look into. Okay, so how does it even affect your system? First, let's talk about this first phase, okay, this follicular phase, which is the day you are seeing your period, the first day you're seeing your period to the day you are going to ovulate. Okay, this is the follicular phase. Starts from the day you are seeing your menses, that day one, until the day you ovulated. Let's say you have 28-day cycle, which is the particular one that we always talk about, which is not always the case, okay, for everybody, especially when you have long cycle or those that have shorter cycle, which is absolutely normal. But if you have 28-day cycle, we're talking about the first day to the 14th day, because you are expected to ovulate on that 14th day. Okay, so this is your follicular phase. Now, this is your follicular phase, and the next is your luteal phase, which starts from the ovulation to the day you are going to see your next period. You see how it is? So now this particular follicular phase is regulated by a lot of hormones, starting from your estrogen being low, to your FSH going high, to your LH, okay, and your ovulating before we get to the luteal phase. Okay, so these are the things that happens to your system. And if you are ovulating late, it means that you have a long follicular phase. Okay, you're really not going to ovulate on that 14th day that we are talking about, okay, or even you're not going to ovulate anything on that, okay, below that 14. It's going to be after 14, and it's normal. But if you start ovulating around 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, which is absolutely, it happens, okay, of your cycles. In fact, some people, I've seen somebody that ovulated around 30, the 30 of her ovulation, of her cycle, and you can see that this particular follicular phase has lasted long. Okay, this can affect your system in a lot of ways. But first, let's talk about how and why do you ovulate late. Okay, we have a lot of things that causes it, especially when it comes to your hormones. Okay, let's talk about high prolactin. When you have high prolactin, especially, for example, you are breastfeeding, or you are on any drugs that is producing more of prolactin, okay, this might affect your follicular phase, to make it last longer, because now your prolactin is high. Okay, that makes it difficult for your FSH and every other thing that's necessary for you to ovulate to go higher. Even your cervical mucus is going to be dry for a longer time. Okay, it's going to be light and dry for a longer time, trying to find a way to go higher for you to ovulate. Okay, because when your follicles when your estrogen is low and your follicle FSH is high, these things will help your LH to go high, because it's when the follicle stimulating hormone stimulates the follicles and then signals the LH to start releasing the matured egg, okay, which is done by the LH. Okay, but when all these things are very high, especially your prolactin is high, every other thing that needs to be normal, like those FSH and the LH, finds it difficult to even know where to start. Okay, this thing takes time. They linger, trying to find their way, trying to find their position, where to start and how to start, because the prolactin is too high. Okay, this is why sometimes you ovulate late. Okay, next thing is when you have high cortisol. Okay, high cortisol, which is caused by stress and a lot of like different kinds of stress, when it comes to emotional stress, physical stress, and all that. Even when you are sick, okay, there are people that even when they are sick, their cortisol goes high, trying to balance their system. The system is seeing this as a kind of danger. They're trying to balance it, so it reduces the function of your reproductive hormones. Okay, this is another cause of this particular late ovulation. Okay, another thing is because of high testosterone. Okay, I hope I'm getting I hope I'm getting the word. Okay, this is another thing that might cause late ovulation. Okay, when the testosterone is high, this particular testosterone will reduce every other hormone that is responsible for you to ovulate. Okay, and this is why you see your system lingering for a long time before it can even ovulate, for you to go or get into the next phase, which is the luteal phase. Okay, so and every other thing will be just stagnant. Okay, finding their way, struggling, trying to balance. Okay, this is a kind of hormonal issues. And when you have PCOS, okay, PCOS will also make you to ovulate late, because your system, especially your LH, will keep on going high, high, high. Okay, this is another thing. PCOS. Okay, it does not mean that when you have PCOS you are not going to ovulate. A lot of people have PCOS and they ovulate, they have children, yes. So PCOS has different levels. Okay, but this particular thing I'm talking about might make your LH to be always high, and you need that peak. Your LH to be at the peak, at the highest level, for you to release an egg. That is the end of the follicular phase, right? But because it's always high, it's trying to find a balance for it to go peak. Okay, and that is why you ovulate late. So it will take time for it to be doing zigzag until it gets, and then you ovulate, and that is when you ovulate late. Okay, so that is another thing. Another thing is the TSH hormones. These hormones are very important. In fact, every one of them has their works, okay, doing in our system. So when there is issue with one, there will be issues with a lot of other ones, especially when it comes to your reproductive system. So this is another big issue, another big cause, okay, of late ovulation. Next is when you are drawing closer to menopause. Okay, when you're drawing closer to menopause, then it might affect your ovulation, it might affect your follicular phase particularly. Okay, might linger everything and make things confusing, and that's when you end up ovulating late. Okay, another thing is when your FSH is low. This in turn makes your estrogen to be low too. And remember, your estrogen helps to do a lot of things in your system. It helps to also it helps you to produce enough cervical mucus. It also helps to prepare your womb for any particular conception. Okay, so these things, when your FSH is low, your estrogen is going to be low, which makes it difficult for the estrogen to do its work in your system faster, and this lingers the follicular phase. Okay, another thing is when you're doing strenuous exercise, this puts your system in a very confusing state, in a stressed mode. Okay, that also prevents you to fast forward, like prevents your system to do the things it's supposed to be doing normally. Another thing is gene. Okay, there are ones that genetically, yes, they just ovulate late. Okay, so you have to find out when you ovulate, track your ovulation, find out when you ovulate, so that it's also very possible for you to take in even when you ovulated late. Yes, if you can do the acts on that particular time you're ovulating, then it's okay. But the main issue is, what if you don't ovulate and get enough quality egg? Okay, because of all these obstructions on the way, all these things that led to the delayance of that particular ovulation. So this might make it hard for you to ovulate a good quality egg that will be able to be fertilized, or that will be active enough. Okay, so that is another concern, but that doesn't mean you cannot egg in when you ovulated late. Okay, so these are the things that caused it. Okay, or when you are on your on a medication that is lowering your hormones, that's affecting your hormones. This in turn will delay your hormones from functioning normally. Okay, so if it happens maybe at a time, maybe you just saw this happening in this particular month, you can calm down and settle down. Maybe the next month it's going to normalize. But if it continues and you are seeing a lot of other symptoms like infertility issues, then you need to see your doctor. You need to also reconsider those things that you do, like your diet, your exercise, your stress, and every other thing. Those things will help to normalize your follicular phase, okay, and help you to get to ovulate early, okay, on time and at the normal time, okay, so that when you're planning, you plan completely perfectly, okay. And also when you're avoiding, you know where to start, because this makes you confused. Like when you ovulate late, yeah, expecting your system to ovulate maybe around this time, and you stay for a longer period of time. You don't even understand what is going on. It's frustrating sometimes, especially when you're not used to it, okay, especially when you're trying to conceive too. It's frustrating enough. So these are the things that you can do to help your system to ovulate better at the normal time, okay. But if it doesn't give you any issue, please don't just buy, okay. At least eventually at the end you ovulated, at the end there's an end to this follicular phase and you get into the next phase. It's just okay. So that is it for today's video. I actually wanted to explain to us why you ovulate late, because you might be like, what is going on? Okay, this is the reason.